Wow, I've never heard that before. It said this meeting is being recorded. Okay, thank you. So welcome to yoga. Last week we took a week off so that could recuperate a little bit from this shingle issue, but things are getting better. So I'm grateful to be back here with you today. I don't know if you read the email last night, the announcing class, but there was a little piece on there, a quote about yoga giving us the opportunity to be curious. And so today I invite you to approach your practice with curiosity about what you bring with you to the mat, what your body might be up to today, what your heart might be up to. And sometimes those are dangerous questions to ask. If we get quiet, sometimes things that we weren't expecting might rise to the surface. But I invite you today to just be curious about it and not non-judgmental. Just allow yourself to, as best you can, go with the flow today and just ask yourself, what am I noticing? What might be different? What's better? What's challenging? So you might need, if you're watching this on a recording, just a little strap, maybe for warming up or using it for a prop as a helper for stretching. And I'm going to invite you, as always, to rest back on your mat and make yourself comfortable. You might need a pillow under your knees, a little bolster, maybe something under your head for support. So just make your way down. And to begin our journey of presence into this space this morning, let's just look around and notice what we see. Maybe even naming objects in your mind, your thoughts. But noticing where you are. And then drawing your gaze to center, if it's comfortable, closing your eyes. If not, just softening your gaze, and we'll begin to listen. Just send out your thoughts and awareness to your surroundings. What do you hear? Just be curious about what sounds you might be able to pick up. And then noticing that you do rest in sacred space this morning. The air around you is filled with the presence of God. So what is it like for you today to think about that? Maybe be curious about, what do I think about being surrounded by God's presence this morning? And actually breathing in the presence of God in the breath. And coming to an awareness of your body resting here. So let's notice, and once again, just encouraging a little bit of curiosity, what's happening inside your body today. Let's begin with your feet, noticing how your feet feel. Do you feel anything down in your toes, your ankles, the soles of your feet? And then moving on up through your ankles and calves and shins. And your knees, what are your knees saying to you this morning? Maybe asking, body, do you have a message? Or what am I trying to tell myself in my body today? And then noticing your thighs resting, your hips. So what's going on internally as you do a little body scan sweep from the soles of your feet up to your hips? Are you feeling anything different? Or have you had any challenges or healings there this week? And then swirling on up through the pelvis, noticing your belly settling, your lower abdominals, or your organs inside, just waking up today, getting going. And then noticing your belly, just how in general does your belly feel this morning or afternoon, wherever you are. And then thinking about your ribs, your chest, your heart, lungs. How is the breath moving right now? Just take a second to notice where your breath is. How does that feel? And then noticing shoulders settling. And you might want to rock your head side to side very gently and just notice how your neck is talking to you today. Noticing your arms resting, your hands, fingers. And then swirl back through the fingers, the wrists, the elbows, coming on up to your shoulders. And then swishing up over the shoulders, up through your neck, your throat. How's that feeling in there today? And then coming up to your face, noticing what expression you have today. Are your brows knitted? Is your jaw clenching? And how's your scalp feeling? Are you holding a lot of tension from thinking a lot? Notice the skin of your scalp and how that feels around your ears, around the back of your neck, and the crown of your head. So let's do now just a little re-sweep down from your feet all the way up through the ankles, the shins, the knees, the thighs, your hips, your belly, your breasts, your lungs, your shoulders, your arms, your face, your head, your ears. So noticing any place that was remarkable to you in this body scan today. And if there's any place that's talking to you and needs a little extra care, I invite you to place your hand on that place. Or if it's an issue of the heart, rest your hands on your heart. If it's something in your mind, you can even just rest your hands gently, interlace your fingers and healing across your forehead, or maybe place one hand on your forehead and the other hand around behind the back of your neck. But whatever, or if you don't want to have your hands anywhere besides next to you, that's fine too. But we'll begin to notice our breath and sending a deep, full healing breath into any place that is talking to you today that needs a little more curiosity, a little care, a little love, a little less judgment, and more grace. Taking a slow, full, deep breath there. And sending self-compassion to those places. And then just resting your hands down. And fully noticing your breath now. Just allowing yourself to breathe in and out easily as your body needs it. So it doesn't have to be controlled or forced. It's just an easy breath in, breath out. And as you notice your breath, if you'd like to deepen it a little bit more, maybe extending the inhale, lengthening your exhale without a lot of worry about making it just right. Just notice what happens in your body. As we say, be curious about your breath. How does it feel? Where is it going? What's happening in your body on your inhale and your exhale? Just notice. And maybe we give thanks this morning just for the very fact that we can breathe. What a gift the breath is. So as you rest in your easy breath, I'm going to share with you from the book of Exodus today. And it's about Moses seeing the burning bush and how a moment of responding to curiosity can change an entire life. So on our mats today, we experience this little microcosm of life. We're being curious about our breath, curious about our bodies, curious about how we feel, can make us more aware of what's going on around us and how God might be moving and where we might be called. So I'll just share this with you from Exodus chapter 3. So Moses was shepherding the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. He led the flock to the west end of the wilderness and came to the mountain of God, Horeb. The angel of God appeared to him in flames of fire blazing out of the middle of a bush. He looked. The bush was blazing away, but it didn't burn up. Moses said, "What is going on here? I can't believe this. This is amazing. Why doesn't the bush burn up?" God saw that he had stopped to look. God called to him from out of the bush, "Moses, Moses." He said, "Yes, I'm right here." And God said, "Don't come any closer. Remove the sandals from your feet. You're standing on holy ground." Then he said, "I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob." Moses hid his face, afraid to look at God. And God says, "I've taken a good long look at the affliction of my people in Egypt. I've heard their cries for deliverance from their slave masters. I know all about their pain, and now I have come to help them, pry them loose from the grip of Egypt, get them out of that country and bring them to a good land with wide open spaces, a land lush with milk and honey, the land of the Canaanite, Hittite, Amorite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, the Jebusite. The Israelite cry for help has come to me, and I've seen for myself how cruelly they're being treated by the Egyptians. It's time for you to go back. I'm sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the people of Israel, out of Egypt." Moses answered God, "But why me? What makes you think that I could ever go to Pharaoh and lead the children of Israel out of Egypt?" "I'll be with you," God said, "and this will be the proof that I am the one who sent you. When you have brought my people out of Egypt, you will worship God right here at this very mountain." And so Moses sees the burning bush. And it says that he stopped to notice. It says, "What's going on here?" And God saw that he had stopped to look. So God called to him. And God tells him that right here, right now, where you're standing is holy ground. And Moses was afraid. But God says, "There's something I see. There's something I need for you to do." And of course, Moses asked, "But why me?" And God says, "I will be with you." So I'm wondering today, are you curious about anything that's standing out to you in your life? Are you afraid? Do you hear God calling you in some way? Is God telling you and reminding you that everywhere you are, including this mat today, in your body is holy ground? Is God promising that he will be with you because he notices something that he has called you to do? These are big questions, and they merit a lot of curiosity, but we can be afraid of that, and that's okay, but God can still use us. So I invite you in your practice today to be curious about what your body's doing. This little microcosm of life right here on your mat, sacred space. So Lord God, we know that you speak to us in our days if we just stop to look. If we see something that jumps out and we stop to pay attention, we can hear you saying, "Here I am." And sometimes we are afraid. But you always reassure us that you are with us in every step and that you have things for us that maybe we would never even think to ask or imagine. But in the middle of our ordinary days, which are of course not ordinary at all, ever, in any moment, we call to you to keep us curious, to help us to be strong and to notice what you might be saying. So thank you for this practice where we can stop, we can take off our shoes and be in holy ground with you and one another. We offer up this practice to you today. We love you. We give you praise in Christ's name. Amen. So, my dear ones, as you shepherd your sheep this morning, just take a big stretch. And notice how you're feeling as you just can unfurl, unfold, reach and move and push and pull. And just stretch it out on your mat, my friends. So maybe taking arms overhead, if that would feel good, whatever feels right. Reaching out end to end. And then drawing knees to your chest, come on in. And maybe rock side to side, front to back a little bit. And then feet straight up to the sky. So lengthening out your legs, noticing that your hips are just settling in. Let your hands rest on your own thighs. Just come on down, let your elbows rest on the floor and put your hands on your legs. And feel that you do have legs, they're still there. And then press the soles of your feet up, noticing how you might feel in the backs of your legs Even running your hands up and down the backs of your legs to come home to yourself. Notice what you feel here. What's happening? And then the fronts of your thighs, notice what's happening there. And reaching up, you can bend your knees and just massage out through the shins a little bit, the backs of your legs again, the calves. Come on down. Come back to your hips, let your head, the hands rest. And then we'll press the soles of the feet up once again. On your inhale, press up. On your exhale, bend your knees, catch them with your hands, draw them to yourself. Inhale, press the soles of the feet up, and this time arms float over your head. And notice what it feels like here to reach out from the waistline up through your fingertips and from the hips up through your feet. Take a breath when you're ready. And on your exhale, bend your knees, draw them into your chest, catch them in your hands, pull them towards you. And then we'll place the soles of the feet on the mat and take your strap. If you don't have a strap, you can just use your hands interlaced behind your thigh here. But if you have a strap, let's just take it on around the sole of your foot and just press up. So as you hold onto your strap here, let's be mindful that we don't want to pull down really hard because we don't want to jam the hip joint. Sometimes it's nice to even think about as you're stretching, kind of lift the strap up a little bit and pull up and towards you instead of pulling down and towards you and jamming. You just might want to play with that a little bit. See what that feels like for you today. Be very gentle and aware and just allow. So you've got the strap to be kind of just harnessed around the ball of your foot a little bit so it's kind of stable there. And you can just pull a little bit and breathe and let it go. If you have your hands behind your thigh here interlaced, you can just give yourself a little tug towards you, but not pressing down, jamming into the hip, but just maybe think of creating space in the back of your leg, breathing, flexing through your foot and pointing. Easy shoulders, easy in your face. Let your face be real soft and your jaw resting. And then we'll take both ends of the strap in the right hand and just swirl that left leg around through the hip socket. So did I say left leg? I meant right leg. So let's take your left leg and bend, your knee is bent here. So that's very easy. You just want to kind of easily swoop the leg around directly from the hip socket. And then come the other way and just check in. Breathe nice and easy. And then come to center and we'll float the right leg out to the side as the left knee opens. So notice where your left hip is. Allow your left hip to settle back into the mat as your shoulders broaden. You're just going to explore your inner right thigh. Whew. So breathing here, take a little breath. Let it be nice and easy, floaty. But you have this central core of strength in your belly that keeps the hips stable. On your inhale, let's float your right leg back to center, change hands on the strap. Let your left hand come down beside you, and you're pressing up through the right leg, but you're just drawing it gently over to the left side without lifting the right hip off the mat. So maybe you can take your hand even in the crease of your right groin and stabilize the hip and just let the leg cross through the midline. And then we'll come back to center and change feet. So we're going to put the other foot up in the strap. Maybe take a moment to just kind of allow them to sail back and forth. Use your belly a little bit. Just feel, it's almost like you're on this little flying trapeze here, nice and light. We're not pulling down towards you strongly. We're just letting them kind of float up and back. And then make your way to center and we'll take the right foot out. See how my right foot is free? Going to plant the sole of my right foot on the floor. And now I'll take the left leg and just kind of sail it back and forth. Nice and easy. Maybe flex and point a little bit. Maybe circle around. So we're just creating space in the hip socket there and along the back of your leg. Just notice what's happening. Breathe, easy, pulling up and toward you without jamming. Make it nice and light and free. So we have a tendency when we do yoga to be very staid and serious about what we're doing. And of course it is. We do want to be aware. We want to really notice and be safe. But I'm inviting you right now to just lighten up a little bit and let that leg just kind of sail back and forth. If you have your hands behind your thigh, you can just kind of experiment and play around a little bit. And so if you have your strap, you can take both ends in the left hand and let that leg sail around in a circle as your hips are stable. And if you have your hand behind your thigh, you can just kind of support as the hip socket juices up there a little bit. And then we'll take the left leg out to the side. Let your right hip stay really grounded. And explore this. You might want to back off a little bit and then go back out. But all the while, just be aware that the shoulders can rest, that your mind can be nice and easy here, just softening in. Allow the right hip to remain grounded. I'm noticing that my right glute here is floating up away from the mat. So I'm just going to put my hand on the hip pointer there and stabilize it. And breathe and open. And then as you're ready, let's take that left leg back up through center and the right knee rises also. We're going to change hands on your strap and glide that leg across the midline. And if you have your hands around your thigh, you can just support as it comes across and presses through. Good. And then we'll come back up to center and place both feet once again up in the strap. And just kind of rock around. You can kind of put your feet together and just circle around on the sacrum. You don't want to have your legs pulled in real tight. You're just allowing them to be free back and forth, gathering your belly here so that you can support your legs and your back. And then maybe even just circle around, just kind of let them fly a little bit as you support with your abdominal muscles. And then come back to center, bend your knees, release the strap. And we'll take soles of the feet together if you can, holding on to either your knees or your shins or your ankles. Soles of the feet together and just kind of rest here a little bit. Let your shoulders be broad. Nice and easy. Long, slow, full, deep breath as you once again here become curious about how you're feeling inside. Where's your breath? Can you imagine the breath sailing in through your nose and down through your belly, out side to side into the little butterfly wings of your legs, and your knees are bent? Breathe. And then we can clap the soles of our feet together, get the energy moving through the legs, just little claps. And breathe. And rub your feet together, find some friction there. Good. And from here, let's take hold behind our knees. So open your knees up so you can support behind. So the knees are wide apart, drawn in gently, and then draw the soles of the feet up into happy baby. So you're just drawing the knees towards you, gently rocking the sacrum or lower back down toward the mat. So if you can hold on here, that's great. If you want to reach up, hold on the outsides of your knees, your pinky toe sides of your feet. That's good. Let your shoulders relax. And then just notice how it feels to rock gently side to side. And you feel that little massage on your back. But let it be very free and simple. And come back to center and we'll draw the knees together. Once again, soles of the feet go to the sky, arms come up over your head. So you're making this little L shape here on the ground, kind of right angles if that's possible. And then draw the knees in. And rolling onto your side toward the screen, just take a moment to rest here. Maybe your elbow will come up under your head for support. Yeah, so we're remembering here, just rest a moment and remember what Jesus tells us about ask and it shall be given, seek and you shall find, knock and the door will be open. So doesn't that denote a bit of curiosity? So God is welcoming us to be curious, saying, what would this be like? What do I need to seek? What am I looking for? What do I want to find? What am I going to have? What's going to happen when the door opens? You know? So he's inviting us to be curious. He's inviting us to be trusting. He's inviting us to know that he's there. I mean, the book of James says that if you're seeking wisdom, let anyone just ask God, who gives graciously to all without finding fault. So be curious. Ask questions. So pressing on up. Sometimes in yoga class, I ask myself, why am I doing this? Why did I come? So if something gets challenging, I'm going, I don't know. But so that's the answer to my question. Sometimes I lived through it. I did it. It's okay. So let's come on up to sitting, and we'll take legs crossed here. If you want to sit on a blanket or a towel, please do that. And we'll just take a little perch up. Take your hands to your knees if that's comfortable, or the mid-thigh. So we made it to sitting. How about that? So let's take the bowl of the pelvis and settle it into the blanket floor. If you're feeling a little grabby here in your thighs and you have something to support, maybe more towels or blankets by now, maybe you're bringing pillows, maybe you have a whole bunker around you to support you, but blocks are always handy to set the outsides of your thighs on. In any case, let's just do our best to sit up tall. And you can close your eyes here, noticing the groundedness of your hips. So we think about being grounded so that we can fly. So when we're grounded and stable, we have this freedom to be lifting taller. So the vertebrae can stack one on top of the other. Noticing that natural curve of your lower back. Noticing that your ears can stack right over your shoulders. Crown of the head lifts as if you've got this little string just pulling you straight up. Just checking in with that spaciousness, that sense of lift in the belly. And we'll come back to the breath. So let's take a soft, easy, deep breath in. Notice how it feels. Allowing your belly to expand on your inhale. The ribs open, maybe the heart lifts. And on your exhale, the shoulders soften, the crown of your head lifts. So let's notice what it feels like. Maybe be curious about expansion today and lifting and opening, receiving as the breath comes in. And as you exhale, allow the shoulders to soften. Allow the ribs to snuggle back into center. Just follow your breath here. A few easy, deep breaths. Noticing that you're perching right on those sit bones, the two bones you're sitting on. And then on your exhale, allow your chin to drop to your chest. And just stay there for a couple of breaths as you continue to lift through the heart, through the spine. Drawing your belly in. But also relaxing the back of your neck. So that's that push-pull of yoga, that stable but soft. And then we'll, on our inhale, take your face back to center. On your exhale, a little gaze to the right. And come back to center. Take a breath when you're ready. And then on your exhale, gaze to the left. Good. And then we'll just drop our right ear over the right shoulder And then roll your chin down towards your chest. And then continue on over to the left shoulder, just very gently noticing what's happening in the shoulders. What's happening in the neck and the chin and the chest. Staying tall, roll your chin back down. And then coming back to the other side very gently. Breathe. And we'll do it again. Drop your chin to your chest. Over to the other side. And then we'll make our way back down. So your chin is back to your chest again. And then come back to center. And roll the shoulders up and back. About creating space in the shoulder sockets there. And you can even take your elbows and your hands with you. Just draw it back. And then we'll go forward. So pull back and forward and back and front and back and swim it forward and pull back and forward. And then let's just come through center and dive out. Just open the arms out. Send the arms around you. And open your heart. Arms in. So what are you feeling here as your arms slowly blossom out? Where's the chest? Where's your breath? And on your exhale, as you draw the arms in, what do you notice as you hug in? We'll do it one more time. Inhale, blossoming. And exhale, give yourself a hug. And then the arms will float down, ease them out. Maybe do a little wild and crazy hula here. Just feeling the space. And you're going to get in a little twist here as you reach out and then around to the other side. And just say, oh, what does the space feel like this morning? What am I noticing in my arms and my shoulders and my ribs as I begin to twist side to side? Letting the arms flow, but maintaining that stability and lift in the central body. And then come back to center, and we'll take arms up on your inhale. And exhale to your right, just swooping down. Take the arms down, take that little twist. Take the shoulders down and back. Tummy is in, lifted. Find your twist. Now, when I'm curious about this, I have to stop a minute and notice what my ribs are doing. I like to take myself around in increments and kind of play with it and take it back around slowly. And once you're kind of back there, just play with it a little bit more. At your own pace, with your own breath, and listen to your own body. Just listen. Follow an easy breath here. Just an inhale that sweeps through your nose, down through your body, into your pelvis, lifts the heart. And allow your exhale to swirl you around the other way. And just come all the way around, other side. And make your way here. So it's a journey. It's just a push back, pull through. See how your shoulders are feeling. And just make your way around gently into that other twist, other way. Heart is lifted, chest lifted. Breathe. Good. And this time on your inhale, let's swoop the arms up over our head, come back through center. And exhale out. Take the hands down to your knees as you continue your exhale and go into a little camel ride. So you'll pull back. On your inhale, you'll lift. Lift the heart. Lift your face a little bit here. On your exhale, rock back. And inhale, lift. Exhale back. Doesn't have to be big. It can be just tiny. It can be whatever motion feels right to you. And that's what we want to notice, is what your body's telling you about where you want to go, what you need to do. And let this be your last time back rounding. Let your shoulders relax. Let your spine round behind you. And then we'll sit up nice and tall. And we'll take the hands beside us. Take your right palm up. Take a lift up and over, a little side bend. So grounding through the opposite hip. So there's a long line from these fingertips down through your side body between the ribs, opening up. Hip presses down. Fingers reach. And you can play with this too by pressing out through your palm, pressing up, pressing through, maybe circling, maybe take the arm around and see how that feels. How does that affect your breath? What's happening in the ribs? What's happening in the shoulder when you just circle around nice and easy? And let's reverse it. Up and over, around and through, up and over. Breathe, and then come back, take one more reach, nice and long. And then inhale, pressing up, float through. We're just going to find that little balancing point in the center. On your next inhale, press up, reach up, and over, ta-ta-da, there you go, reaching over, reaching. So, opposite, see this other hip presses down. You see, as I reach up through the side body, that hip is pressing down. So we have a lot of length here. The shoulder is soft, but it's reaching through. Notice how this feels. Maybe back off with a breath. And exhale a little deeper. Easy breath, float. And reach. Float. And reach. Noticing how that feels for you. And maybe pressing out through the palm. Breathe, open the chest. What do you feel? And then taking those little circles around. Just sweep. Easing out through the shoulder. Nice and easy there. Notice how it feels to keep your chest in line with the center here, but take your arm back behind you a little bit and sweep across. And then other way. So what are you noticing in your body here as you do this? And one more time. Let's take it up, reach it over. Take one more nice breath here, noticing the opening of your side body. On your inhale, float up. Find that little balance here, right in center. How do you feel as you just sway a little bit, make your way back to that center space, right over the sit bones, sitting up tall. Well, yes, very nice. Thank you very much. So, where are we now? Let's do a little forward fold. So we want to open up the backs of our hips a little bit. Take a moment to, let's uncross our legs first though, because it might be getting a little pinchy for you. So let's press the legs out, sit up tall, flex and point through your feet. I promise you I'm doing that where you can't see it. And breathe. So we want to open up the ankles, swirl the feet around a little bit. Good, and other way. So it's like your toes are reaching out saying like, what's going on? What am I feeling? Good, and then we'll take the legs a little wider apart. Support behind you with your chest and your belly lifted, and just let the legs rock. And breathe. Good, just let them rock, rock, rock. Really easy, let your feet go. Breathe. So it's like you're sending a little breeze down from your head, down through your body, down through your legs, down into your feet. Good, and then take the legs out. Good, and we'll reach forward, take a little massage. Good. Yay. So let's do this first. Let's take the right leg out, take the sole of your foot in, and we'll just do a little opening for the backs of your legs before we stand up in a moment. So sit up nice and tall, take your chest over that knee, and if you'd like, you can lift arms up. Take a little, it's like taking a bow. It's like, hello, here I am, reaching forward, leading with your chest, not your chin. You're just reaching out nice and long. And then take your hands down, take a little forward fold. So you might feel this in the back of your leg. You can rub it if you want, see how that feels. Sometimes the outside of, the opposite side of your back might feel a little stretch. Nice. So ease out your shoulders. And we might explore here on your inhale, lengthening out through your back. On your exhale, rolling forward. Take a couple of easy breaths here. On your inhale, lengthen your spine, maybe back off a little bit. On your exhale, fall through. And then just rest there in any way that's comfortable and notice your breath. Just notice where your body's going. How's that feeling for you today? What are you curious about? What is going on? So let's lengthen your spine. Come on up. Let's take the opposite leg out. Take this foot in, next other foot in. So notice I have this block under here. So if you have something you want to just grab from a chair or a book or whatever you have around, a tennis shoe, put it under there if that feels good. And we're going to lift up, take our arms up. So you notice this length through the hips all the way up through the side body. Come forward. And then when you reach your edge there, you're just going to drop your hands to the mat. Pull through a little bit. Lengthen your spine. So you want to think about pulling the belly button away from the sit bones. You got your belly in. Heart is pulling forward towards your toes. And we'll take a breath and then exhale forward. And then back off a little bit. Take your breath. Exhale long through your back and over. And we'll do it one more time. Back up, breathe. And then lengthen and roll forward. And then just allow yourself to be here with us for a moment. Just breathing, noticing. It's a good time to explore. You can take your sit bones and kind of glide them back behind you a little bit, which might lengthen out your belly a little. You might notice that little more of a tug on a hamstring behind you because it attaches back up on your bottom to your sit bone there. It's the hamstring is sewn together there. Let's put it that way. It attaches to your skeleton back there. And then inhale, come on up. Yes. And now, let's take legs out, shake them out a little bit. And now we'll cross our legs and sit up tall. And we'll just get your feet comfortable, maybe so that you're not going to press into them too hard on each other. So your ankle bones aren't poking each other. And then we'll take arms up, take a big stretch, palms down to the heart. Inhale, lift your heart, and exhale, dive forward. So as you come forward and you're ready, you need to take your hands to the floor. The floor catches you as your support. You can kind of just sway a little bit side to side here and make your way down to wherever is comfortable for you. So there's just a lot of noticing, a lot of allowing and exploring, moving one side to the other. So send your thoughts inside. You can even close your eyes here and really notice what you're feeling. And as you would like to, come back to center and just let your arms either stretch out ahead of you, or you can take your hands beside you on the mat. Just come down to wherever you're comfortable. Maybe your hands are right in front of you. Whatever feels good. You're noticing the backs of your hips and how that feels there. So now draw your awareness to what leg is in front. So if your left leg is in front, your left foot, going to climb over towards your right a little bit, opposite to that, and reach out on the diagonal. Notice how this feels for your lower back on that side. So if it's your left foot's in front, you'll notice the lower back on the left side. If it's the right side, you get it. So just notice. It's a good way to stretch out that hula muscle there that attaches from your ribs to the top of your pelvic bone, the bowl of your pelvis back there. It kind of gives you the side-to-side wiggle motion, hip hiker. And then we're going to come back to center, climb up, and let's rock back. And if you can, just take a moment to just stretch the legs out. If you don't want to do that, you can just kind of Take one leg, other leg, whatever feels good, and then cross the other leg in front. And then we'll sit up tall. Take your arms up, palms touch, and to the heart. And then forward we go. Let's go forward, but just take your time. A little sway here, side to side. It doesn't matter if you're sitting up this tall, whether you're way here, whether your face is on the floor. It's all a matter of just exploring. You're getting benefit wherever you are. So no worries, no judgment. And so just take your time to breathe. Notice how the breath affects what you're doing here. Maybe how the breath contributes to creating space in the places where you need that little bit of grace today, a little bit of opening. All those little burning bushes you have around calling for attention. And then you're going to make your way down to center and see how that feels for you, how much your body needs here today. And breathe. As you're there, when you're ready, crawling, so if this time you're up, whatever foot is in front, whatever leg is in front, you're going to go to the opposite side and reach across. Long on the diagonal, but gently. So just take it to your level of comfort. And then we'll climb back through center and make your way up. Good. So let's bring the knees together here and just windshield wiper a little bit. And we're going to come to all fours. So let's come around to all fours. We'll just take a moment for just a little bit of opening of the hip flexors here for a lunge. So if you want to take your blanket, you can put your knees on your blanket. Or if you have a towel, whatever is there, we're just going to take a moment to open up the hip flexors a little. So let's take one leg ahead. We're just going to stand up tall here. So align your pelvis, your belly, press. So what happens is you lift here and press through. And then you can take your hands down. See how you feel. Maybe push your other leg forward a little bit. And we're just going to have a nice long spine. This is where we're opening right here in front of the hip. We do a lot for the backs of our hips and for the backs of our legs, but we don't do as much for the hip flexor. So let's just be with that for a moment. And if you need to, back off a little bit and then press forward. If you have blocks, you can take your blocks underneath your hands for support. But just kind of play with it. This is where I like to get curious and just kind of keep my tummy in. You don't want to just let your belly droop down. You want to keep it in. But you just kind of maybe can swivel to the side a little bit. And then back around. And then through center, lift. Breathe. And then we'll come back and take the other leg in front. So if you don't have blocks, that's okay. Come up through, I like to call this the soccer team photograph picture where you're like this. You're sitting up tall here and you're just pressing through. So remember, you're just shifting the pelvis forward as the hip flexor opens on that side. So if you're here, that's great. If you want to press through a little bit more, you can take it through. A little bit more. Maybe you could back off a little bit, press through. Just explore. Say, how's this feeling? What am I doing? Breathing. Tummy's in, lifted. If you'd like, coming down to the floor or your blocks, do that. And then just kind of swivel around a little. So as I said, we're just getting curious. We're just noticing what happens when. So we're just backing up a little, coming forward. Good. Good. So we'll come back, come to our hands and knees, tuck your toes under, press back to a little down dog here and explore that. So the knuckles are pressing in to the mat and just kind of play with it. Take one heel down, other heel down, both heels down. Notice your calves. Notice your shoulders. If you feel like you need to come down to your elbows, your forearms on the mat, you can stabilize your shoulders here. Press back a little bit. See how you feel there. And then just gently walk your feet to your hands, hands back to your feet. I'm going to take my blanket off the mat. And just take your hands along your legs and roll up. Just give your legs a little massage here as you come on up. Good. Now I want to talk to you today just for a second about flexibility in your hamstrings. Now, sometimes we say that we're not flexible back there, but what we need to think about is our hip socket, okay? Let's see if I can get this right. Hello, what's happening? So I've been looking at this book. It's called Yoga Myths, and there are things that we were taught in yoga, especially if you started about 20 years ago, that ain't necessarily so for everybody, so we have to be very careful. And one thing is about hamstring flexibility. So what we need to think about is that everybody's hip sockets are certainly different and have different bony sizes and the way they're inserted. So you have the little cup of your, it's called an acetabulum. It's where the ball of your femur bone sticks in there. So it's kind of right here, the femur bone sticks in it and rolls around. But the thing is, we tend to think that the femurs attach, or the ball of the head of the femur sticks in directly sideways, but it doesn't. It's, for the most part, a little bit anterior. So actually your little cups are more facing forward with the ball of your femur in here instead of way out to the side. So what happens is that when you hinge forward, you can try this if you want to. If you turn your legs out a little bit and then lift up in your tummy and go forward, you might catch a little bit earlier because it's not rolling right in the hip socket. But if you internally rotate your legs just a little bit, you're creating more space because that's the way they fit more into their sockets there. So just try that. Let's start. Take your thighs out a little bit and hinge forward. Hang on. See how far you go here. That's about it for me right here. And then if I take my thighs and roll them in a little bit, I find that my hip sockets are a little more free to release. So that's just something to think about. You can play with that. That's something to be curious about. So just thought I'd bring that up, okay? All right, let's come to standing. Isn't it fun? We learn these things. So we're going to do a couple of half sun salutations. So let's take hands to our hearts. And so let's notice how you feel standing here today. Where's your heart? Where's your head? Where's your body? I think it's attached. I think it still is, hopefully. Come to center. Find your breath. And then on your inhale, let's just swoop arms up nice and easy. And just take your arms down and just feel the space. And we'll come up. Just do it this way. Draw the arms up. Come up over your head and out to the side. So you know what we're doing, right? You know that little energy move where we pull the arms up through center, through the conception vessel, and open and out. It's kind of protective of our energy, kind of keeping us all unified here. Down. Okay, so let's swoop the arms up. Let's bend your knees a little bit and exhale, swan dive forward. Remember not to have your legs turned out. Remember maybe your feet are even turned in, your thighs are turned in just a little bit, forward fold. See what that feels like. Inhale halfway. And exhale, forward fold again. Inhale, lifted swoop, arms come up. Palms touch. Find that little surprise of the touch, and then down through center to your heart. Let's do it again. Inhale, lift. Exhale, dive. Just be free with this. And just forward fold. Inhale, halfway. Yes, exhale, forward fold here. And then inhale, lift and swoop. Arms come up. Palms touch and come to the heart. Good. So we're just going to do a little crescent moon flow here. Let's take the arms up. And you can either interlace your hands in steeple mudra like this. Fingers pointing up. Or you can take one wrist and change wrist side to side as we go side to side. So let's give that a shot. Take hands up. And we'll take a breath. So I have my hands in steeple mudra here, but you know what? I'm going to change them to wrists so you can see better how to do that. It's just a little switcheroo every time. So come to center. Inhale up. Take hold of your wrists, opposite wrist, press over. So you're pressing into that side foot, out through the side body. Coming up on your inhale, change wrists. Exhale, pull across. And just flowing, very easy. So just feel it. I'm just not going to worry so much. Just make sure your tummy's in. Exhale, feel and reach. Inhale, center, change hands. Exhale. And inhale here, change hands and press. And here, last set. Over pull. Inhale here and exhale over. And inhale up. Stretch out into your 5-pointed star. And then dive forward. We're going to take hands to the floor. You can bend your knees a whole lot if you need to. We're going to do a little standing twist here. So you're out here. You're diving forward. Take your hands a little in front of your feet. You don't have to be way back. Because you want your spine to be long. So I'm reaching out ahead of me so that my spine can stay long. I'm not way back here, so I have to curl up. I'm kind of reaching out this way. See how it gives your back a chance to lengthen. And then you'll just take the right hand back to your sacrum. And notice that, don't let your hips wiggle side to side. You want to be straight and center there. Begin to turn and twist and open your chest and then take the arm up. So noticing where your weight is in your feet. Let it try to be as equal as you can in your feet. Take a glance up and then exhale down. Then we'll take other side. So take left hand to your sacrum. Get a sense of how your hips are in center. Lengthen out from your sit bones all the way to the sternum. And then roll that shoulder back, twisting gently. Take your arm up. Couple of breaths here. Feet are stable. And exhale down when you're ready. And then we'll just you can come to Spider-Man fingers here. Bend your knees a little if you need to. And just take an inhale, do a little cat-cow. Take an inhale, look up. Exhale, round. Inhale, lengthen. You can have your hands on your knees if you like to also. Round and lengthen. And round. And lengthen. And round and stay. Roll on up. And take the shoulders up and back. Good. And let's just come back to sitting. Good. Good. So come to an easy seat and we'll just come back to center. Take your hands to your knees. Find a comfortable seat so that you can really connect with the breath again. Sitting there quietly and noticing how your body feels after your movement. And then you will, if you like, you can roll onto your back, reach forward. Take your knees with you, come on back. And breathe. Good, so we'll keep the right knee in. Maybe you can support underneath the right knee. Take your left foot to the mat. Stretch out that left leg. Draw your knee in. And then releasing your right foot to the mat, draw the left knee in.
Yeah.
Take a breath here. On your exhale, lengthen out through your right leg.
Love you.
And then draw both knees in. And we'll take arms out side to side. And we'll just take a little exhale with the knees to the right. Maybe stretching out that top leg across, if that would feel good. But taking your gaze across over the left shoulder. And then come to center, roll back through center. Maybe just take a moment to explore space with your legs. This feels good. It's sort of like being a little sea creature, like way underwater, just kind of floating your little tentacles around. And then draw knees in and let them drop to the left side. And your gaze goes over the right shoulder as your right leg presses out to the side. Yes, yes, yes. If that feels good for you. And then making your way back to center, just rock it around a little bit. And we'll take the legs out now into Shavasana. So go ahead and stretch out, resting into your mat. So if you'd like to take a blanket under or pillow under your knees or maybe something under your head for support, please do that. So this is a time when you let everything that you've done come home to your body. This is where we're curious about what it's like to let go. Notice how it feels to completely release your body's weight into the support of the mat underneath. There's the scripture that talks about that underneath us are the everlasting arms. Can you imagine that this morning? The arms of the Mother, the arms of the Father, Holy Spirit, underneath you, supporting, loving, allowing you to rest with no concern, allowing your breath to soften and be very easy. Just rest there for now. So beginning now to gently guide your awareness back to your breath. And maybe deepening it a little bit, taking some long, slow, full, energizing breaths as you take your arms over your head if you would like, stretching out your legs, circling out wrists, ankles. And as you're ready, guiding knees to chest, maybe rocking side to side for one more little back massage. And as you're ready from there, over onto your side. And I'm going to invite you here as you rest on your side to just rest your hand on your heart and connect. Being curious about where your heart is now. Allowing yourself compassion for yourself to come in and listen. And then as you're ready, pressing yourself up slowly to sitting. And then noticing where your body is, if you need to take a little stretch or a wiggle or whatever you'd like to do. Coming back to a quiet seated place. And we'll take hands to heart. So Creator God, we give you such thanks for loving us enough to give us a sense of curiosity, to give us the ability to stop and notice, to pay attention, to hear you, because you want us to hear you. The desire of your heart is for that relationship. So may we listen, may we be curious about our bodies, our minds, the world, our neighbor, as we hear you talking inside. We love you, we thank you. May this practice open up our hearts, our minds, our bodies to you more and more as we walk this path. In Christ's name, amen. So thank you all for practicing with me today. Go out and be curious. Play around with that hip socket if you want. This is the name of this book. It's called Yoga Myths. It's really good, very interesting. It's written by Judith Hanson Lassiter. She is a physical therapist, very world-renowned yoga teacher. So thank you for practicing with me today. Shalom.